Alright, bro. So, first off, I want to start by saying Happy New Year to everybody. I definitely hope any goals you want to accomplish are actually met this year. But for today, we're going to actually be doing my best albums of the decade. It was kind of a hard decision because I actually didn't know if I actually should make best albums of 2019 or best albums of the decade. But I went with best albums of the decade because I feel like it's going to be a more interesting list, to be honest, bro. So this is actually an interesting list right now that I'm actually reading it, the way I actually did put this, because it has hip hop albums, it has R&B albums, and it actually has one album that actually doesn't involve any of those two genres as an overall genre. It's a down tempo album, I would actually call it. But at the same time, it's an interesting list right here, so I'm gonna get right to it. For number 10, I have Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, Bandana. This is probably the hardest decision right here for the list because this is actually from this year right here. So it's a very, very recent album. But I enjoy this album a lot, bro. Like, I like the production right here when it comes to Madlib. It's crazy to me. It's just crazy to think that this is actually made entirely the production on an iPad, bro. Like, think about it. This motherfucker really made an album that I feel like it's going to be a classic when people look at it further on. And he actually made this fucking shit right here like on an iPad. So it's crazy to think like the way technology has advanced, but at the same time, obviously not anybody could do a fucking great album on an iPad, the entire production. So it definitely shows Madlib's skills right here, that he's actually doing all this production that sounds amazing. It just sounds great. I love the vibe right here when it comes to the combination between Freddie Gibbs and Madlib right here. There's so many great tracks, man. Like, of course, the feature with Pusha T is amazing. Like, the way he says this shit like he knows like he could actually say it and nobody's gonna tell him nothing. Like, the way he just says Obama opened his doors knowing I was a criminal. I'm like, bro, this motherfucker really doesn't give a fuck. Like, this shit right here was amazing. Like, to me, this was definitely my favorite album of the year. Madlib, Freddie Gibbs just goes crazy on some tracks. Like, I don't remember the name of the track. Was it Situations? I think it was Situations, where he's just talking about a lot of the things he went through on his life. But the production right there, when it actually does the switch up, and at the same time, Freddie just keeps going. The flow never stops. He just keeps rapping and rapping and rhyming. Like, bro, that track is amazing. If I'm not mistaken, it's Situations. But there's so many great tracks, man. Like, overall, that feature from Pusha T on the album is amazing too. And I just feel like the combination is definitely a combination that was worth putting on this list right here, because I enjoy the album a lot. And even though it's a very recent album, I feel like when people actually let it have these years further on the next decade, like, people will look back at it and think, man, this is actually a classic right here, because the combination right there is just crazy to me, bro. But either way, that's number 10. That's probably going to be the most recent. Actually, it's definitely the most recent on my list. Number 9, I actually have J. Cole, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Now, this right here, I feel like it's actually J. Cole's only definitive classic. I can definitely see somebody else talking about another album, because I feel like KOD is a great album. I feel like For Your Eyes Only is actually an underrated album at the same time, because people didn't really notice it. I can't even speak right now, but like, what the fuck? People didn't actually notice it as much as other projects the time it came out. But either way, I feel like J. Cole, when anybody thinks about J. Cole, they definitely think about 2014 Forest Hills Drive. And definitely it has some iconic lines. Like, just anybody was listening to that album, they know when he says, "First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil, for real, you're the only father that I ever knew." And of course, what was the other name of the track that I just like a lot? Man, I can't remember it, but it had this crazy production. I'm really bad with names, so my bad, and I'm doing this right off the rip. But I just love the way he could actually do a lot of raps that were definitely aggressive in certain parts, and at the same time, even though he's not the greatest singer, like, he could actually add some melodies himself, not having to depend on another artist just trying to do these features. Of course, you've heard it many times, going platinum with no features, but at the same time, like, him having that ability to actually do melodies while doing these raps as well, that can be at certain parts aggressive and actually not getting stale when it comes to that project, is actually something that I feel like people have to appreciate a lot when it comes to Cole. So I definitely enjoy that project a lot. A Tale of Two Cities, that's the track I'm talking about. Like, that beat right there is amazing, man. Like, that beat is so fucking hard, bro. And I just like the aggression when it comes to J. Cole. Now for number 8 on my list, I got Bryson Tiller, Trap Soul. Bro, this project right here might be one of the biggest R&B projects of the decade for sure. Like, I feel like people, when it came to this project, it was everywhere. Like, and Bryson, this is his first album, of course. Then it was True to Self. But when it comes to this right here, he just had so many bangers, R&B bangers right here. My God, like Right My Wrongs, The Sequence, Don't, so many fucking, bro, like Rambo, like the Weeknd Rambo remix. I keep playing that a lot too. But Rambo, the track alone, the original one, is amazing. Like, he has so many great tracks right here. He really did have the essence of the name right there. Like, he did really add a lot of trap elements when it comes to the R&B production. And he did have a lot of soul at the same time, so that's why it's fucking called Trap Soul. What else do you want me to fucking say? But like, this project is good because it's good. Like, the voice right there is actually great. I like the production a lot because it has that heavy bass on certain tracks. Actually, a lot of tracks, while at the same time maintaining the soul from Bryson's vocals. So definitely a top 10 for me when it comes to my favorite albums of the decade. And for number 7, I have Travis Scott, Rodeo. Now, there's so many projects right here from Travis that I could definitely put on the list. Like, I'm a big fan of Astroworld, of course. Like I said, I think Astro Thunder is an amazing track, probably one of his best tracks. I definitely enjoyed on Astroworld, No Bystanders, and what was the other track that I did enjoy a lot? Can't Say with Don Toliver. But when it comes to Rodeo, when I think about Travis, I definitely think about the fact that he elevated, in a sense, the trap genre when it came to the mainstream aspect of people actually elevating the production and the sound, because there was a point in time where I felt like trap was definitely just sounding the same, and I feel like because of Travis it actually got to higher levels when it came to the mainstream part of the music of this genre. And since it was probably the biggest genre when it came to the decade, trap, so I definitely feel like the way he actually did his production and the way he added the melodies, definitely something that Young Thug did as well. But when it came to production as well, Travis put that at a higher level, at a higher peak, making it mainstream as well, because of course he had tracks like Goosebumps and all these other tracks like Antidote. So I definitely feel like Rodeo was a big moment in the decade, because it felt like Travis was actually going to a high level when it came to the terms of the production and the sound. So at number 6, I have James Blake, Overgrown. Bro, you can't even imagine how many times I played this album right here. This is the album I'm talking about, that it's actually not a hip-hop album. It's actually not an R&B album either. It's like a down-tempo album, but it does have some elements of hip-hop added to it, because it's like this trip-hop down-tempo fusion right here, in a sense, with the type of sounds it has and the way the production is. But if you definitely want to listen to a project where it has features like Chance the Rapper, and I think you have to pick up the deluxe version for the Chance verse, so pick that up if I'm not mistaken. And the RZA features in the basic version, however the fuck you say. But at the same time, like, if you want to have these type of verses that are amazing and that sound dark at the same time on this like down tempo type of style of production and music, and some amazing vocals. Listen, if you actually listen to Astroworld, you know how James Blake sounds. Like, his vocals are just like a fucking angel in the sky in heaven, like just saying anything, and it sounds beautiful. Like, for some reason, like, this shit just sounds amazing. Like, he could say something you don't even fucking understand, and just the vocals sound amazing right there. Like, the voice right there is just great with these type of down tempo beats and these occasional verses that you might actually listen to. I don't think it's the main thing you should actually go for this album, but it definitely has those small hip-hop elements as well. But bro, if you definitely enjoy this dark, moody vibe, down-tempo, chill type of music that just gives you chills at the same time, like Retrograde, what was the other track, Overgrown? Bro, listen to this project. You're definitely gonna enjoy it. So at number 5, I have Drake, Take Care. He just has so many great tracks right here, like Hell Yeah, Fucking Right with Lil Wayne. The Crew with The Weeknd is amazing. The track where he has The Weeknd doing like this background chorus, if you could call it that way. What the fuck was the name of that track where he says brand new girl? Brand new titties and they still showing. What the fuck was that track, bro? Let me go one more time. The Ride, I just remember. Drake, The Ride, it has like in the background, The Weeknd singing the vocals right there. Great production, great track. He has so many great tracks on this project right here, like Marvin's Room, of course. But yeah, this is definitely, to me, Drake at his best when it comes to an album. Like, I feel like where he was most focused, not just giving you some bangers and then some like B-sides. This is definitely him giving you great tracks from top to bottom. Take a Shot for Me, bro. Bro, he has so many good tracks right here. The Ride, like I mentioned previously. So Take Care is definitely his best album, bro. Like, I don't feel like there's another album that actually comes close to it. A lot of people, for some reason, actually say Nothing Was the Same, but bro, stop. It's not Take Care, bro. Like, relax. It's not Take Care. Y'all be saying some weird shit sometimes, bro. So number 4 on my list is Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. This is definitely one of Kendrick Lamar's best project, if not his best project. The way he just has tracks like Sing About Me, Dying of Thirst, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. This was that point in time from Kendrick, like, you could definitely tell he was gaining that mainstream type of attention, while at the same time giving you great lyrics and great production, and not actually doing anything that is actually generic, because he's actually getting this mainstream type of audience. However, I still had it for number 3, Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Bro, To Pimp a Butterfly, every time I listen to it, it's just amazing. Like, what Kendrick did with that project right there is just like, I wasn't expecting that to be what I was listening to. Like, anytime I listen to a track like How Much a Dollar Costs, The Question Is Detrimental, Paralyzing My Thoughts, Parasites My Stomach, like the way he just says things on that project, the way he ends that track right there, the way he says, I am God, the person who's actually asking for the money. And then you just look back at the track like, damn, that's how you actually feel about a dollar. Like, that's how much a dollar costs. A Spot in Heaven, Embrace Your Loss. Like, holy fuck, that shit is crazy to me. Like, that track is amazing, and I'm only talking about one track so far. Like, when you think about the last track, where he's actually doing a Tupac voice, but at the same time, not him, like, he's talking to Tupac is what I'm trying to say. But the way he says, when shit hits the fan, is you still a fan? Michael Jackson gave us Billie Jean, you say he touched those kids. When shit hits the fan, is he still a fan? The Ghost of Mandela. Like, bro, he has such amazing tracks right here. Institutionalized, the way he talks about on that track where he has Snoop Dogg. Such a great track. So many like double meanings, double entendres, however you want to say it. Just great production overall. Black of the Berry. It's amazing, bro. What the fuck was the name of the track where he's actually rapping and at the same time he's drunk? The first part of that track he's screaming. Yeah, You was the name of the track. Bro, that track is amazing. The way he just shows so much emotion when it comes to the track entirely. At first he's actually screaming on the track, but then he gets to this part where where he says, I'm fucked up, but I'm as fucked up as you. You just can't get it right. I think your heart is made of bulletproof. And the way he just the way he raps that while he's actually drunk, and you could actually listen to the bottle go down once he finishes his verse. Bro, that gave me fucking chills, bro. Like, the way he did that performance right there was fucking insane, bro. Now, for number 2, I actually have Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, bro, what can we say about this project right here? Like, when Kanye was actually coming from that whole situation with Taylor Swift at the VMAs, then he releases this type of project. Like, people were doubting him because, of course, 808 and Heartbreaks, that whole situation, like, people actually made it a very, very big situation. So then he actually comes and drops My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, think about the fucking production on that album. Like, just think about the production alone on that project, bro. Like, that shit is probably his best production ever. That shit is amazing. All of the lights, power, that fucking track, the first one, I can't even remember the names, right? Let me go back to it. I think it's Gorgeous with Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi sounds amazing on that shit. Fucking Monster, Devil in a New Dress, bro. Rick Ross was crazy right there. Runaway, bro, this shit is just, bro, this is obviously one of the best albums, if not the best album of the decade. However, for me, definitely the best album of the decade has to be the Weeknd Trilogy. If there's any album I fucking listen to the most, it's Trilogy, bro. Like, you have no idea how many times I've replayed Echoes of Silence, Thursday, and House of Balloons. Like, Hot for This, The Morning, fucking forgot the fucking name now. And I have these tracks: EXO, The Host, Outside, 28, Loft Music, amazing, bro. So many fucking good tracks on these mixtapes. Cause first it was the mixtapes, then he made it into a cleaner type of mixing with the production to make it trilogy. It's fucking amazing, bro. Like, if I had a project that I could listen to for the rest of my life and I don't have any other album to listen to, I would definitely listen to Trilogy for the rest of my fucking life, bro. Like, that shit is amazing. When it comes to 28, like I said, The Morning, this is probably, Trilogy has to be the album that definitely revolutionized the way people listen to R&B now. Like, the way R&B is made currently, if it wasn't for that sound that The Weeknd had right there on Trilogy with these mixtapes, people would not be doing this, what people used to actually call experimental R&B, alternative R&B, because before the 2010s, R&B wasn't actually sounding like this. So these Tory Lanez type of tracks where they're very moody and very dark, all these tracks that are very moody and dark and people call R&B right now, it's because of The Weeknd, bro. Like, The Weeknd started this shit with House of Balloons, definitely Hot for This, all these very mellow, dark, moody, long vocals type of tracks. Like, that's The Weeknd for sure. Nobody else would have actually implemented this if it wasn't for a Trilogy at this period. And honestly, there was that point in time where people were questioning, is R&B dead? I remember those articles back in the day, like around the 2010s, 2011, 2012, 2010. People were talking about, is R&B dead? And a lot of people were using that term PBR&B to actually classify this type of music because it wasn't like real R&B. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. This has turned into the real R&B. The type of sound R&B is going on for over the entire decade and is actually still continuing. So if it wasn't for how The Weeknd started this shit, most of these motherfuckers wouldn't actually be right here. Like, that's why he actually even says on Reminder, like, these R&B motherfuckers is lame, because they be trying to actually copy his sound. They be sounding like him. He started this whole shit right here, bro. And it's funny the way he says that, because I just be thinking, like, it's fucking true. A lot of people be trying to sound like him a lot of the times when it comes to the R&B type of sound. So either way, this is definitely my favorite project of the entire decade. But that's gonna be it when it comes to this list right here. My favorite albums of the decade, 2010, 2020. The Weeknd, like I said, is my favorite project. A lot of different type of genres right here when you actually look at it, because Travis doesn't sound like Bryson, like James Blake, like The Weeknd. So let me know how your list actually looks when it comes to the type of genres you have for your top 10 albums of the decade. That's gonna be it. My voice is fucking gone for some reason. I've been doing like 30 minutes straight. I can't even see the time right now, but that's gonna be it, bro. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be coming with some other videos, piano covers, dance videos, and reactions further on, of course, bro. So I'm out, bro. Take care.